All right, let's dive into two of the most important acronyms you'll find in the world of international standards, ISO and IEC. Now, they sound pretty similar, and yeah, they do work together sometimes, but they have fundamentally different jobs in shaping, well, pretty much everything around us. So in the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly what each one does.
You've definitely seen these logos around, right? Maybe on a product or tucked away in a company handbook. And you know they mean quality, consistency, that kind of thing. But here's the real difference, the key takeaway. One is all about how a company runs its business, and the other is all about what a specific piece of technology actually does. Let's get into the story behind these two giants.
Okay, first up, ISO. Probably the best way to think about ISO is like a management blueprint. It's the master plan, the framework for how a whole organization should operate smoothly and effectively.
So, what does ISO actually stand for? It's the International Organization for Standardization, and these folks have been at it for a while, since way back in 1947. The whole idea was to create a set of common standards to make global trade and innovation, just work better. And it's not a government agency, it's a bridge between the public and private worlds.
And here's a fun fact for you. ISO isn't just a jumble of letters from its official name. It's actually much cooler than that. The founders picked the name from the Greek word isos, which means equal. And that just perfectly sums up their mission, right? To create a level, equal playing field for everyone, no matter what country you're in or what industry you're in.
So what's actually in this blueprint? Well, it's all about the big picture systems. ISO isn't going to tell you which brand of computer to buy. Instead, it defines how you should organize your processes, how to define who's responsible for what, and how you measure if you're actually doing a good job. And that's why you see ISO standards for just about everything. Quality management, environmental impact, even how schools are run.
So here it is, the main thing to remember. ISO is all about the how. It is the framework, the game plan, the operational DNA for any organization that wants to be well run.
All right, let's flip the coin. If ISO is the big picture blueprint, then the IEC is what I like to call the technology rulebook. This is where we get down to the nitty-gritty of the products themselves. The IEC, that's the International Electrotechnical Commission, has a much more specific job. Its entire universe is electrotechnology. We're talking about basically anything that uses or makes electricity. So from the charger for your phone all the way up to the massive power grid that keeps our lights on. And what's in that rule book? We're talking about the hard stuff. Concrete numbers, specific requirements. Technical specs for how a device has to be built, really strict safety rules to make sure things don't catch fire, and precise ways to measure performance and energy use. It's all about making sure different technologies work, that they work safely, and that they can actually work together. And that is the key. The IEC doesn't care how you manage your company payroll. It cares about what your product does. Does it meet the safety rules? Will it work with other devices? Does it perform the way it's supposed to? It's all about the tech, the actual thing.
So, we've looked at them one by one. Now let's put them right next to each other to make this super clear. This is all about process versus product.
This chart just nails it, doesn't it? You've got ISO, the blueprint, focusing on these broad general management systems. It's asking the big question, how do we run our business well? And then you've got IEC, the rulebook, and it is laser focused on one thing, electrotechnology. Its scope is super specific, very technical, and it's asking, how does this piece of tech actually work, and is it safe?
But here's where things get really interesting. These two groups don't always operate in their own little worlds. Sometimes that management blueprint needs a very specific technology rulebook to go with it. And when they team up, well, they create some of the most powerful and important standards out there today. A perfect example is ISO/IEC 27001. You've probably heard of it. It's the gold standard for information security. And it's a perfect marriage, right? It takes ISO's principles for management systems, the how to manage all your security risks, and combines them with IEC's technical details for actually protecting the information. Same goes for something like ISO/IEC 17025 for testing labs. It merges the how of running a lab with the what of getting the technical calibrations exactly right.
So, why does any of this matter? Why have we been talking about blueprints and rulebooks? Why is this distinction something you should actually care about in the real world?
This quote really says it all. It's not about one being better or more important. They're both absolutely essential. The difference is in their scope of competence.
One is a master of the organizational process. The other is the absolute authority on technology.
Okay, if you're going to walk away from this whole explainer remembering just one single thing to cut through all the noise, what should it be?
This is it. It's this simple. ISO tells you how to run the organization. IEC tells you what your technology needs to do. How and what. It's that easy and honestly, that powerful.
So, take a second. Look around you right now. The device you're watching this on, the electricity that's powering it, the company that actually made it, every single one is shaped by these invisible frameworks. So which one had a bigger impact on your day-to-day, the how or the what? The answer, of course, is that you absolutely need both.